And we are in the kitchen this morning with Mary Pappas of Alpha Delights. Good morning to you.
Good morning, Emily.
Thank you for being here. So we're going to be making a recipe, or I should say you'll be making a recipe. I'll be watching.
You might get pulled into this.
That's fine. French meat pie.
Yes.
So a lot of people make it, is that right? A lot of people have different recipes.
Yes.
What's the deal with it?
Yeah, it is a French tradition. You know, after a long night of fasting, Christmas Eve, the French tradition is to have a celebration. It's the same tradition that occurs at Easter time quite often. But there's you fast all day and you want some great celebrations, some great foods and so on. And this meat pie developed and was brought to Canada, Quebec, Canada, with all the French immigrants that came in, and in Quebec it just flourished. And of course the people from Quebec came and settled in the Green Bay area and so on. So there's a lot of people in this area who know about or have had French meat pie in their history, personal history. And we at Alpha Delights have been making French meat pie from the get-go when we started in 2001. My mother is French Canadian. Wow. You know, I've always emphasized the Greek side of my family. My father was a Greek immigrant. My mother is French Canadian. And this has always been part of our Christmas tradition.
Well, why don't you tell us how we're going to make it? I know you shared a recipe with us, so why don't you take us through the steps, Mary?
Absolutely. It's an interesting thing because it is pretty basic, and there are all kinds of variations to it. The variation that we have is a combination of beef and pork. And you'll get into some very heated conversations with people about which is the right way to make this, because it all depends on your family history.
Okay.
An all pork mixture is very, very common. Great debate about whether you have potatoes or not. You know, that goes on and on. But what you do, it's a very simple recipe, is you really just sort of boil the meat almost. You brown it and put some water in there, and potatoes and onions and so on.
And that's all you have in there
right now? And that's where
now?
I'm at right now. And what we'll do is we'll skim off some of the juices now that are there, because we don't want too much juice. You know, we've been boiling, so there's water in here, as well as some of the juices from the meat itself. And we will then add some seasoning. The seasoning, again, no matter what the competition is about the meat combination, the seasoning is pretty consistent. And the key thing is that it has nutmeg in it.
Okay.
Some people may add a little bit of cinnamon or cloves. Again, a little variation there, but there's always nutmeg. That's a fundamental.
Ooh, I can really smell that. That smells really good.
It's very nice. So we'll just add that in, and then the next thing that we'll do is just thicken it up a little bit so it holds together with some breadcrumbs. And when you own a bakery, you always have breadcrumbs. Actually, at home, I always have breadcrumbs. I never throw a piece of heel of bread away.
Use everything.
Absolutely, absolutely. So we'll just thicken that up just a little bit. Again, not very much. And then we'll put it in our pie shell. Now, you know, a good pie shell makes a good pie. And again, in terms of the tradition, that's really important. But I understand the realities of life, and sometimes the store-bought is going to do for you. So we're just going to add that in there, and it is, again, pretty straightforward.
And at Alpha Delights, you make your own crust.
Absolutely, absolutely. And you know, as I mentioned, we've been making these in our bakery ever since we started open. It's a bakery cafe, and we always serve it for lunch during Christmas week. So not next week, but the week after, we'll be serving this for lunch. But people can also buy a whole meat pie from us.
Oh.
We've actually made them all. They're all in our shop right now, frozen. So you can come and buy one and make one yourself. It's already cooked. And all you have to do is warm it up.
So you're going to top this. Are you going to cut any pieces out at all, or are you just going to put it right over?
I'm just going to, so I've got the meat in there, and you kind of want to get it packed in there nicely.
Okay.
Another shell on top. And just kind of finish it like you would a berry pie, for that matter.
And how long would you bake this for, Mary?
About an hour is about the right time. As my mother says, you bake it until it's done.
Yep, that's always good.
And the reality is about an hour. But again, part of the tradition is that you make a lot of these. The recipe that I have on your site is for 3, and that's the minimum that I would suggest you do, because you make them, you stick them in your freezer. That's what people used to do, and then you just warm it up Christmas Eve. So it's a ready-made deal for you.
So you can go to our website to find out that recipe. We have one in the oven.
Yes,
we're going to show you in 8 o'clock. We'll show you the finished product, but
Excellent.
go to our website for that information, as well as Alpha Delights. Sounds like a great place. I got to stop in there. Good Day, Wisconsin will be right back.